Well, listen, I want to thank you all. I recognize that I am the last speaker before you head off to Capitol Hill, and I do want to thank you for all that you do. And as I look out and talk to people all around, not only the 10th Congressional District, but as I travel all over the country, our infrastructure is absolutely vital. And so if you want to talk about just a sign of our economy, no doubt jobs in the economy is still probably the #1 issue that's on people's minds. Again, there's this anger, there's this fear, there's this anxiety that's out there that they're falling behind. And so our infrastructure in terms of how do we grow our jobs is absolutely vital. How we move people around is absolutely critical for how we grow our economy. And you play that critical piece in that role on how we move those people around. And so, again, we were delighted that we were able to get a long-term surface transportation bill, first time in 10 years. But as you go to the Hill today, I certainly hope that you're going to be talking to them after you say a quick thank you to those that were supportive on what are we doing next. 5 years is going to fly by, and then what? And so I am pleased that we were able to get things done like commuter parity, positive train control, that extension before we started to move things. But please recognize that, again, this idea about how we fund surface transportation isn't going away. And again, we've got a $13 billion annual shortfall that needs to be addressed. And there are so many of my colleagues around the country that don't understand mass transit. They don't understand how important it is, not only for our urban areas, but really to try to grow our economy. So one of my good friends, Kevin Yoder out in Kansas, he says, why in the world are we using mass transit? Because he doesn't have a whole lot of mass transit in his district. Same thing's true with a lot of people that are outside of some of these major metropolitan areas. But I can tell you, just from my conversations and just living and growing up in the greater Chicago area, in the Chicago terminal, if we didn't have mass transit, we'd have an increased congestion of 50% overnight on our roadways. As the folks at Metro like to say, we'd need an additional 26 lanes of traffic in and around the Chicago area if indeed we didn't have mass transit. So if you just think about that for a second, think about that as a quality of life issue. And frankly, we have a tremendous amount of investment that needs to be made in that infrastructure. You saw Chairman Denham here a little bit ago. I'm sorry I wasn't here to hear what he had to say or give him some static. But I will tell you that our infrastructure in the Chicago terminal, we have some of the switches on some of the metro tracks that go back to the Roosevelt administration. And that is something that, frankly, we need to rectify as we talk about investment, to make sure that we're able to move people around, to make sure that we are able to ease that congestion, and frankly, it's an environmental issue as well. So I can talk for a long time about this. This is something that is near and dear to my heart. As a small business owner that has a fleet of vehicles that are on the road, we understand how important that is, and frankly, we want to ease the congestion. We want more people using mass transit. So again, I am delighted to be a champion for surface transportation, and more specifically for mass transit. And I want to again thank all of you, because united you are a much stronger voice, and the fact that you're taking your time to come to Washington, taking your time to go march up on Capitol Hill, and I'm sure you've been told time and again, do not be offended if you don't have opportunity to sit down with the member. Oftentimes sitting down with the staff can be almost more productive, or at least equally productive. Because they are the ones that are diving deep into the issues, understand how important those things are. So do take those meetings seriously. And again, I just want to thank you for all that you do, and recognize that 5 years will go by in a blink of an eye. And what we don't want to do is we don't want more short-term bills. The longer we have to plan, the longer we give you to be able to stretch those dollars, the purchasing power and the like, the better off it's going to be not only for the taxpayers, but the better off it's going to be for those people that are using, your customers that are using the services that you all provide. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to be with you. Have a great day in Washington.